Hello everyone, Jamie Starr here for the New World News Network. On this episode, I want to talk about the upcoming movie Morgan and what I guess we could call predictive programming, but because some of this has already been put out there, I don't think it's as much predictive as much as it's just to sort of move the Overton window and the normalcy bias. The movie Morgan is based on the idea of a corporate risk management consultant who has to decide and determine whether or not to terminate an artificial being's life that was made in a laboratory. These are concepts that sound like science fiction, the idea of a life being created artificially. I was actually born from artificial insemination, and that was in the 80s. So science has advanced, and we are now, as I'll get into with some of these other things, we are now at the point of artificial wombs, multiple parents, and like every sort of leftist social justice issue, you start to realize that the numbers they use are very trivial. For example, $15 minimum wage, why not $25? I mean, you don't care where the money is coming from, you're just naming arbitrary numbers. So you have these articles in London papers. Let me try to find a good one first. Or in British papers. Here in the BBC, MPs say yes to 3-person babies. And here you have it where the UK is going to become the first country to introduce the laws to allow creation of babies from 3 people. Now, they have rationalized this as we're going to be using this to avoid certain genetic issues, like different diseases and everything like that. Here you see the little diagrams, how they take the nucleus from someone with unhealthy mitochondria, put it into someone with good mitochondria, and there you have a baby made from 3 people. But this has now gone on to designer babies. If you want a baby with brown hair, we can edit the genome so that they can have brown hair. If you want a blonde baby, we can edit them to have one with blonde hair. Here we see another provocative new research into babies with DNA from 3 people could avoid rare wrist disease. So you see that they're already starting this sort of tinkering with humans and to create certain types of babies. Here we have ligers, tigans, and splice, human-animal hybrids. This is from the Center for Bioethics and Human Dignity. And if you go through, it talks about breeding different animals, creating new animals, mixing them with human DNA, and creating like chimeras and all sorts. I did another video when the Super Bowl had the puppy monkey baby thing. I did a video called Half-Breed Lives Matter, because science is creating these things. And another thing, people can go through, there are all these full articles out there, plenty of stuff on this, but we're having these movies introduce these concepts through pop culture to normalize us to these concepts. But here are some of the things we see. 10 insane cases of genetic engineering. And this is where it goes. And I mean, a part of me, we think it's cool. Oh, we could make a Spider-Man in a laboratory. Like, we could splice a human with a spider, and maybe they could actually climb walls. Sounds crazy, but they're doing it. So, we have spider goats. The goats that shoot out silk, I think, like spiders. It's being used for bulletproof vests, artificial tendons, bandages, even computer chips and fiber optic cables for surgery. We have singing mice. You have mice that chirp like birds. Super salmon, extra big salmon. Now again, we're making mutants. So, I can only imagine like inbred dogs when the genetics are slightly messed up. You could end up with them being more violent or not being able to think as well. Oddly enough, I just did a video mentioning how both Einstein and Darwin were into incest, and how it's amazing that some of the most predominant scientists do things that science and biology frowns upon. Viral bananas that inoculate people against hepatitis B. I mean, for people who have problems with vaccination, the team also successfully altered carrots, lettuce, potatoes, and tobacco to carry the vaccine, but feel that bananas were most reliable transportation system. So you're talking now about putting vaccines into our food. Environmentally friendly pigs that don't give off as much phosphorus gas. Chicken egg drugs, they've been making vaccines from chicken DNA. This is one of the issues brought up in the waivers to get out of them, that certain religions say you're not supposed to mix the blood of man with the blood of animals. Humanized cow milk. You have cows that can make human breast milk now. So again, how long until we have humans that have features of animals? Scorpion cabbages. Cabbages that put off a venom that scorpions would make that is very toxic to insects. Pigs with human organs for transplants. And then finally you have DARPA's super soldiers. And this is, where they would, say splice part of a human with a dolphin in hopes for sonar abilities or night vision or things like that. This stuff is being done. And this is what this movie Morgan, is delving into, an artificial human created with extra human abilities. Here we have, and this is one of the things that I feel happens, again, to try to normalize these things, because we have this article, UK plans for human-animal genetic hybrids, which is very true. They have the articles from the British Medical Science Report and all sorts of information about this. But this top picture up here is fake. It's just a piece of art. Although this is what they are going for. But when you have sites like Snopes and such, people will look, they will see an article like this, and they'll say, well, the picture up top must be fake, therefore this is all BS science fiction, when it's quite far from that. This is going on. There are islands, I'm sure, where there are these mutants kept in laboratories, and we have to ask ourselves ethically, is it a human or is it not? How much of a human's genetics do you need before you become a human? Some people, like Eric Holdren, Obama's science czar, say that babies don't offer any human value until up to age 3 and condone killing them because they have nothing to give society up until they're 3 years old. So this is a floodgate for all sorts of science fiction issues. We are living in a brave new world, and it is starting to get to be a very scary place. And it's very amazing when you kind of juxtapose these things going on with the sort of issues. Like after this, I'm going to do a video on New York schools enacting segregation to fight against white guilt or white power or privilege or whatever they're calling it nowadays. I mean, you have this revival and neo-segregationism and this new form of racism kind of appearing at the point when humanity should be coming together and asking ourselves, what the fuck are we doing? And this, my only thought is that the only way this stuff could even be going on is with humanity in such shambles, because you couldn't be doing this stuff if people were united, let alone united under concepts of religion or, common grounds like that, as opposed to the state. So, anyway, this is stuff I just wanted to bring to light with the Morgan movie coming out, and wanted to cover it. So I hope everyone enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. Check the links below. This has been Jamie Starr, New World News Network. Thank you, and have a good one. Hello everyone, Jamie Starr here. One bit I wanted to add, I forgot to get to this clip in the last video, so I'll do it now, just so we can have this complete. Another thing about this whole genetic, crossbreeding, artificial lives and humans and everything is now they can do this. We have artificial wombs, so they don't even need a mother to birth these creatures and chimeras. It can be done solely in a laboratory. So I'll just let this little clip play, just kind of close off this video. So as you saw in the video, it says outright that, you know, the babies can be created to have or avoid certain genetic features and desirable traits and everything. So, you know, with everything going on, I mean, I guess, you know, they might just come out and say that being white is no longer desirable because white people are the source of all the world's pain per social justice warriors. This is eugenics. This is like super scientific neo-eugenics, and part of this plan, basically, you know, as we're going into this sort of Matrix, Brave New World idea, you know, GMOs within 3 generations, populations turned sterile. So what the ultimate goal of this is for all of the masses to end up sterile, and for you to have to go to the government for them to artificially create your baby with your mate, and you will go like how you pick out a car and you're like, oh, well, I want a red car that's a 5-speed, you know, this and that. You'll be like, oh, well, I want a, you know, brown-skinned baby with blue eyes, which with 130 IQ and superior athletic abilities, and they will just sort of take all these genetics and mix them together. I mean, it's insane to think about. I mean, I can only imagine, you know, what you're going to end up having is with government creating large genetic databases and everything. You'll end up having it where you could walk in and sort of be like, oh, well, we have a strain of John Lennon's hair. We can extract the DNA so you can have a bit of John Lennon in your baby, or you can have a baby with the genetics of Princess Diana, or, you know, craziness. It was sheer insanity. So, just wanted to throw that out there to close out the video. Very troubling times. This shit is scary. So, have a good one, everyone.